Now that the 2023 class is signed, sealed, delivered, the chosen ones are in. It's time to start talking about the final ranking. So everybody put out their final numbers. 24/7 put their last top 24/7 on threes 300, ESPN's 300, and Rivals 300. All of theirs are out, and I want to talk about the players that made it in the top 300 for the most part across the board, and some that kind of got snubbed. We'll talk about that coming up here in about, I don't know, 10 seconds. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Jay here with Unfair Sports, where we take a pensive approach to the sports conversation. Thanks for pulling up here on the YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, hit that like, subscribe, and the bell notification and join the family. We're talking a lot of college football here on the channel. And in this video, we're going to dive into some of the top 300 players that we won in our 2023 class. And so, of course, before we get started, you know what the drill is. Jump in the comments and let your boy know, how do you feel about this class? I know we were excited initially. We ended with a top 4 class for ESPN, top 4 with 24/7, top 10 with On 3, blah, blah, blah. So we've got a top class going into next season. And so give me your thoughts. Who's the one that's going to excite you the most? We've talked about this in the past, but I want to keep this going. Who jumps out to you the most, especially once you see the new rankings that come up? And if you're new to the channel, hit the like, subscribe, and bell notification, and share. Why? Because sharing is caring. So we're going to grow the channel. We're almost at 8,000 subs, and I am stoked that you all are willing to ride with me. All of my Oklahoma fans, as well as the Colorado folks that are pulling up now, and all the college football fans in general. And so we're going to have a lot of content coming over the next, like I said, month or so. It's dead season. You know, it's the dead period, and it's quiet because it's the off season. We're preparing for the big weekends to bring recruits in, as well as the spring games. And so we're going to talk about depth charts, players, who do we think is going to lose their job. We're going to go through all of that stuff a little bit later. And so if you looked earlier today, had another video talking about the latest set of PWOs that joined the team. We're going to break down those players a little later with a few guests. In another video later this week. And yeah, we're going to make the magic happen. So let's dive right into this ESPN 300 class, right? Let's pull up what the Sooners finished with, the top players first. So here we go. These are our top players on the list from 24/7. And so I pulled this up from the On3 site. One thing I like about theirs is they give you everybody across the board in one succinct place. So it makes it a little bit easier to view or whatnot. And so take a look. This is who we've got. Of course, at the top of that list is our guy, Jackson Arnold. He finished, I guess you could say, fairly well. Do you guys feel like he's in a good spot? Because me personally, I think he's definitely where I was hoping he would be. He got the national 8th spot with PJ Adebayo, finished at 10 nationally, 15 for Peyton Bowen. Semi Omosigho at 70. You got Makari Seatbelt Vickers, went down to 83. And Jaquez Petaway at 87. And so overall, we finished with 10 players in the top 300, basically across the board. As you can see with Jackson Arnold, he's number 1 in the state on 3 of the databases. You had PJ Adebayo, who was number 1 in the state on all the databases, which is good. So we got a few number 1s on that. You can't beat that. And some number 2s, you know, like Peyton Bowen was number 2 in his state and in Rivals and on 3, mainly because Jackson Arnold was considered better. So yeah, we brought out some talent. Like there's absolutely no doubt about what players we were going after. We were going after some that were best in the country. And then you go into the second group of players that we have here. Let me pull up the next slide. You got Caden Green, who was considered, what's that, number 2 on in the state on a few of the databases with a consensus 3. He finished at 95. Jacoby Johnson, who's considered number 2 or number 1 in the state of Oklahoma, which is really dope. You got to get the best talent in your state, if anything. And ESPN has him number 1. You can't beat that. 133 nationally on the consensus. Lewis Carter at 171. Derek LeBlanc, 243, 242. My bad. And then I added Josiah Wagner as well as Dalen Smothers at 323 and 378 for a particular reason. And this is why. And some of the other databases, they had them in the top 300. Like ESPN has both Smothers as well as Josiah Wagner in basically the top 250. You know, Josiah's at 245. Then you have Smothers here at 230. And Wagner was considered number 2 in his state. That's another top player. That's how you're going to have to recruit to compete when we go to the SEC. And I know you all have seen the news that SEC wise will not be going there until it looks like 25 because of negotiations with the media rights, which when you're under contract, can't do much about that, right? So because of that, doesn't look like we're going anywhere until then. And to be honest, if we can put together more classes like this, if we can come in here and dominate the Big 12 before we go to the SEC and walk in with a whole bunch of top 4 classes, I'm not complaining. I am totally down and sold on the idea of that. And the good thing is that Oklahoma, the school and the administration and everything are also bought in on the idea of putting together top tier classes, investing in this to make sure that when we walk in, we're competing day one. And so outside of that, man, I think the one things that really jumped out to me when I looked at the two was really here on this page. It was like Lewis Carter, you know, linebacker out of Tampa, Florida, Tampa Catholic, one that Brent Venables went after himself. So Coach Venables was all about him. And he's in the hundreds from everybody except for on 3, which was like, I was like, why is that? Same thing with Caden Green coming out of Missouri, 95 nationally as a consensus, and everybody else had him in the top roughly 90, except for 24/7 had him at 92, and their consensus had him in the top 100. But on 3 was the only database that didn't pull him in. Same thing with Josiah Wagner as well as Dalen Smothers. But when you look at some of these other databases, Jacoby Johnson was in the top 50 at ESPN, and you know they're very much a trusted source. They've been doing this forever. But some of the newer ones are coming in with the new dedicated resources. But it's good to have multiples because then you can get a better understanding and feel of everybody. That's why that consensus number is really key and critical. It balances things out. And so don't be mad, guys. It's okay. The most important thing here is that we are picking some of the players that a lot of recruiters are believing are the best in their states and at their positions. And that does nothing but make us look good, baby. That's going to do nothing but help us grow as a organization. And that's what we need. And outside of that, we finished with 2 guys that were considered 5-star plus on 3's database. And same thing with all the others based upon what they call them. But that 5-star plus is key because that means that all the databases gave them a 5-star. And so PJ Adebayo joined Jackson Arnold on that, and on 3 has him 4th nationally. They think he's one of the top dudes, period. ESPN was the last one to hand it over, and then Rivals also gave him a 5-star ranking to go with Jackson Arnold. So we got 2 players that was 5 stars across the board. I'm just saying. We're taking the right steps forward, and that's the only thing that matters. So Sooner fans, if anything, you need to be excited because your boy's stoked. I'm super stoked, and I know that you guys have a reason to be stoked as well. So that's the class. 10 players in the top 300. We could say probably 12 if you add the ones that made it in the one database or whatnot, but that's big. That's huge. That means that we're getting some of the top players in the country, and all we're going to do is continue to see forward progress momentum. Top 10 class last year, another top 10, top 5 class in some databases this year. So last year, top 10, this year, top 5 in some of them. And hey, that's what y'all wanted, right? This is it. Coach Venables asked for, he said 3 years. He broke it down to the studs, starting from scratch and rebuilding, and now we're going to get there. So hop in the comments, let your boy know how you feeling about this recruiting class, how you feel about the future classes, any players you've seen that you want to hear about. We'll be diving into all the crystal balls and some of the offers and stuff. Like I said, during this dead period, ain't nothing else to do. So we're going to bring you all kinds of just random conversations. So thanks for pulling up. Make sure you hop in the comments. Let me know what you think. If you're new and you made it this far, you may as well hit the like, subscribe, and that bell notification to be prepared for more of my videos. And so with that, I'll have some more videos, probably talk some of the other schools and stuff here as well, but we're going to definitely talk about crystal balls we've gotten this past week. and we'll go through each one of those players. We'll dedicate some time for them for each video. So appreciate that. You'll see some videos pop up here. You may as well go ahead and watch another one. Why not? It's early. Keep yourself busy, right? Appreciate y'all checking us out. And yeah, we will talk soon. Peace.